Warning. The following podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Remember, the first rule of gambling responsibly is to bet with your head and not over it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Cousin Vito's Casino Podcast proudly presents your guide to enjoying gambling. And now, direct from the bar, your cousin and mine, Cousin Vito!
Whoa! Welcome everybody to Cousin Vito's Casino Podcast, your guide to enjoying gambling. I'm your host, Cousin Vito, and together we're going to make luck happen at the casino. Thank you for checking out the April 7th, 2025 episode of the show, and I'd like to welcome back my come again, go again co-host, Justin Hopla.
Hey, Vito, long time no talk.
I know, it's been a little bit. Well, we're chatting. We're in each other's DMs like crazy, I feel like. All these video poker pictures, you're making me jealous. I had to buy into a little DraftKings the other night because I was getting so jealous watching those wins you were having over there at Foxwoods.
Yeah, it's been pretty good. I mean, pretty good for considering
for getting creamed.
Yes.
It's like a boxing match, and you lost on the decision. You didn't get knocked out in the first round.
Exactly. Yeah,
and sometimes that feels like a win. But we have a big show for everyone out there today. We have a very special guest from the 360 Vegas podcast, a close friend of mine from many years ago. Tony Snyder is on the show, and he has hosted and helped host a lot of gambling meetups in Vegas. So we had a great conversation with tips for having a great gambling meetup. And Justin, I feel like I learned a lot from this interview, and it's going to help us not only have a great time on April 17th at Foxwoods with everybody, but maybe even piggyback this meetup for our next meetup and make it even bigger and grander.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a great key to have his insight to help us grow and improve on something that, we just started. It just was like, hey, you want to do a meetup? Sure, let's do it. But how do we do it? How do we do it properly? What works? What doesn't work?
Oh, yeah. And there's a lot of pitfalls because you're thinking, even for us, what we're doing, and we're going to get deeper into our itinerary just after this, but, there are some pitfalls. And I'll do a spoiler for one of them. One of them is dining experiences. That can be a sticky situation depending on where you're going, how many people are going. So he talks about the logistics, the mistakes he's made, the correct moves he's made, and, really a fun interview. Tony's a very fun guy. And actually, if we do another one of these, Tony seemed like he might want to come swing on a chandelier and come meet us at Foxwoods.
That'd be amazing.
But before we get into the rest of this stuff, the itinerary, our talk with Tony, and maybe a little trip report after the interview, I want to remind everybody, if you're enjoying the show, head to makeluckhappen.com. It has all my contact information there. You can email me, cousinvito@gmail.com. Follow me on X at Vito's Casino. And most importantly, don't forget, we have the hotline here. You could call up, leave some casino tips, some questions, or even a casino trip report. 1-856-WIN-MORE, because together we're going to win more and lose less together. That's 1-856-946-6673. Doesn't roll off the tongue like win more, though, does it, Justin?
Definitely not, no.
And also, don't forget, if you want to talk to me or Justin, you can head over to Facebook, the Everything's Mohegan, Foxwoods, Tiverton, Twin River, that's a long name, Facebook group. We're in there all the time with some trip reports. You can find me. I'm Vito Marquito. He's Justin Hopla. And also head over to, for a grander scale, the U.S. Casino Enthusiast Facebook group. Feel free to interact with Justin on there. And if you're looking to explore some new casinos or cruises, head to justinthehost.com, and maybe he can get you some nice offers and, hook you up if you want to go on the high seas.
That would be amazing. We got one coming up in May.
Ooh, a little cruise action. Once my kiddos are a little bit older, I'm going to be on those cruises with you. I'll have my little drinks with the umbrella in it. I can feel it. I'm going to get some nice flip-flops, and I'll get what I need is like one of those sun shirts so I don't have to put the sunscreen all over my back. Honestly, I did that on my honeymoon.
Yeah.
I'm never going to the beach with a sun shirt again because it's just so great to be like, you know what, I'm not going to be burned to death. Because I had a couple times, I think it was I went to Costa Rica once. I really underestimated the equator. We were doing we were in like the rapids, doing the water rapids, but you leave at like 4 a.m, so it was dark out. I forgot my sunscreen, but I had the life jacket. Oh man, I was beat up. So yeah, I'm a sun shirt guy now, needless to say.
Perfect.
And I could wear them at the Foxwoods pool too. That's also a good thing.
Yes.
At Fox Tower pool.
Yes, definitely.
All right, so let's see. Before we jump into Tony's interview here, I think we definitely need to talk about our great Thursday Foxwoods meetup. 4/17, April 17th. It's actually coming up a little
10 days away.
10 days away from the week. Wow, that's actually 10 days away from today. Wow. All right. So Justin, you ready we're going to talk about it, formulate some stuff, throw some stuff out there. You ready to rock and roll?
Let's go.
The wonder of it all.
All right. That's right. We're heading to Foxwoods in 10 days, and everyone is invited to come meet us there. We have a very skimpy itinerary, I'd say, for like a huge gambling meetup, but this is just a one-nighter. We want to say hello and hang out. And our first piece of the itinerary, that's official. We're going to get into some unofficial stuff right after this. But 6 p.m., we're all going to head to DraftKings. I'm going to be there. Justin's going to be there. Big Lou's going to be there. Crazy Al's going to be there, who's been wanting to come on the show. Justin, I actually have, it'll probably be a Patreon one day if I open the Patreon up again. I have all these recordings with Crazy Al, and they're too crazy for me to release on the internet. So I've been having to say, we gotta redo this because he's new to what he's doing. So like, me, I try to keep it, I don't want to say family friendly, but we don't have too much cursing on here. You don't get too deep into anything too nefarious on here.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's always stories.
Oh, yeah. So, but we're all going to be there hanging out. So everyone, I want you to come down at 6 p.m. I have 50 Make Luck Happen rubber bracelets. Actually, I guess technically 49 because I'd probably be wearing one also. But I'll give you if we run out, I'll give somebody the bracelet right off my wrist. My Make Luck Happen bracelets. And the caveat, Justin, is on these bracelets, I have the hotline number on there. So every time I give one of these out, I'm going to tell everyone, hey, enjoy the bracelet. Hopefully it brings us all luck tonight. But I want to hear their trip reports, Justin, because I would like for maybe our following episode after this to be a trip report, a huge trip report of our meetup where people call in and talk about what they happened, what was fun, what wasn't so great, what they would do differently, and would they come to one again? How does that sound?
Yeah, that sounds like a great plan. And I will also have bracelets on me for the new U.S. Casino Enthusiast Group and the justinhost.com website. So I have
we're like a Sephora, whatever they right up like a Macy's.
You get a wristband and you get a wristband.
Right? Everyone's gonna walk out looking like Mr. T. They're gonna have all sorts of bracelets hanging off them. But you know what? Maybe it'll be a little bit of good luck.
Let's hope.
So I figure we'll all meet up at DraftKings, and I'm right now we're looking at roughly an hour. But you know what? If it ends up running a little long, we'll hang there, have some cocktails, and for I was thinking I'm probably going to try and eat before that so I don't have to be scoffing nachos and things down while I'm meeting everybody. But if people want to come and get some appetizers and hang out, we did reserve, a handful of tables. But I figure Thursday night, no big sporting events. If people want to come down, I'm sure they'll be able to grab a table right near us too and, open up their own tab or even go to the bar and get cocktails. And who knows, if it's open enough, maybe we'll hunker down at some video poker machines and play there.
Oh, very much so. Yes, I look forward to that.
And after that, I figure we're going to do some group gambling. And since we're going to be at the DraftKings, which is very close, situated basically right next to the Cedar Casino, right near the Pequot and the Woodlands Casino, the perfect hope would be maybe we all go mosey over and try to take over a craps table. What do you think about that? Even though tonight, it might be your big night because it's going to be one of your first on-the-land craps rolls, correct?
Yes, I'm hoping for a very, very long roll.
I'm hoping for you. I need it. We need that. We're all going to be over that. Justin.
I think we all do, Vito.
So for those of you who go to the casino, maybe you don't play craps. We're going to do like a little. I guess this will be a little bit of a not tiny craps tutorial here, Justin. Now, what is your craps knowledge? If you're going to go to the table, what would you bet? What would be your idea of? I'm going to go with that bet.
I'd probably do the pass line, and then do max odds behind it.
Ooh, a max odds guy.
Yeah, probably. And then start out with maybe the 6 and 8 and then go from there.
You got it. You're good. You got it. Pass line bet, max odds, which sadly Foxwoods used to have those 10 times odds, but they brought them down 5 times. I wonder what the marketing strategy there was. Was maybe they were like, we're trying to people maxing their odds out because that seemed like a really great a draw for a craps player when you're like, you know what? I'll go with the 10 times. I don't even place 10 times every time, but I like having the option if I was winning.
Exactly. I mean, there was one casino out in, I believe it was Vegas, that has 100 times odds. Might not have been Vegas, but I I saw it online recently. I'm like, holy cow.
I know. And well, it's if they had lower limits, it'd be great. Last week on the show with John Mahaffey, he was talking about the old dollar craps he used to play that would have 100 times odds. So then, then you're talking, you can play with some odds out there.
Yes, you can.
And actually, for everyone who comes to the meetup, if you go to my new store, I'm going to put it in a link in the show notes here, makeluckhappen.dashery.com. I have a new set of hoodies and T-shirts, my Make Luck Happen shirts. I think I actually showed you the prototype, Justin. It came in the mail. I'm telling you, I got this lightweight hoodie. It's so comfortable. Like, I'm 100% wearing this thing, and I'm going to let everyone feel my fabric if they want, because I'm so impressed. I know, I'm so impressed with this new hoodie. I told my wife, I was like, you know what? If I went to the store and, like, felt this fabric, I would want to buy this even if it was, could have nothing on it. Like if it was like a blank Costco hoodie, And the lightweight hoodie's nice for spring, because right now I'm wearing my regular, Cousin Vito hoodie as we record this, but
which is a heavier one.
Yeah, it gets hot. It gets hot in the spring sometimes. This is nice. You can roll the sleeves up. So if anyone's wearing one of those and you're on the craps table, I got a hard way for you. That's for sure. I'm going to be flicking and say hard way, hard whatever for that guy over there in the Make Luck Happen shirt.
Perfect.
And then after that, actually before that, so we're going to be there, Justin. I'm going to be there with Big Lou from Big Lou Loves Food YouTube. We have our YouTube show, Big Lou and Cousin Vito Eat. And we're trying to think of, we want to do like a little group film session probably before the meetup. So this is kind of, and I don't want to say top secret, but secret to the people who are just listening to this show and maybe in the Everything Mohegan Foxwoods Facebook group. But what do you think for like maybe a place that'd be good to film a little food review or a food item we didn't do? We did a bunch of those burgers, but I'm not addicted to burgers. I could try some other stuff here at the Foxwoods.
Yeah, I would suggest if you get there before, I think it's 4:00, going to Cedars for their prime rib sandwich or their lobster roll.
You're speaking me and Big Lou. So I'm actually going to, I've looked at this menu before. I've been to the Cedars. So I'm going to bring up this. So it'll be a Cedars lunch here. Here we go. Yes, the Cedars lunch menu. And I do see here, here we go. Here's our sandwiches. Oh, yeah. So the Cedars shaved prime rib sandwich. Au jus, horseradish, cream on there. Served with fries and a pickle, I say.
Oh, it was delicious.
And then, the hot lobster roll. Maine lobster.
Has to be
lemon, buttered brioche roll. So I could go both directions, because I would love to try this prime rib sandwich. And actually, when I posed this question on the Facebook group, this prime rib sandwich got a lot of play for people saying to try it.
It did. It definitely did. And it is worth it.
But also, me and Lou, last year, we did a hot lobster roll tour of Connecticut. We hit Abbott's Lobster in the Rub, yep. Captain Scott's Lobster Dock, Stowe's. We hit, maybe almost a dozen places all the way up and down the shoreline. And, maybe this could be our kickoff of the year, the kickoff of the lobster roll tour.
Yeah, the inaugural 2025 lobster roll tour.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to huddle up with Lou. But if you aren't following me on X, you could head at Vito's Casino. But DM me. We might be filming this. I'm thinking. So actually, let me check that Cedar time again, because we want to go for lunch. So we're saying it might have to be a 3 p.m. session there. We're thinking if we want to.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, to get it.
And we usually film guerrilla style anyway, so it's not going to be like, all sorts of lights
big
and camera
production,
action.
yeah,
no, maybe I'll put a little mic on for me and Lou, and then everyone, will take a try. It's tough. You can't really share the lobster roll with that many people. That's the only problem.
Right?
You might have to get your own lobster roll, guys. Yeah. Sorry about that. I need a few bites to really take it in here. And let's see. I'm trying to look on the website here. I don't see the exact time for the lunch, but that sounds about right. Usually 4 p.m. is your lunch.
I think it's 4. Yeah. All right. I think it's 4.
So we're going to say a tentative 3 p.m. at maybe the Cedars. That's tentative. But so follow me on X, and join the Facebook group most likely, because I'm going to be posting a lot of the stuff in there, because I want everyone to have a good time, and I want people's suggestions. It's like, I'm back in the group. I feel like it's like maybe Rocky 2. In Rocky 1, he lost, and he really didn't know if he wanted to fight again. And then by the end of Rocky 2, you were rooting for that guy. That's where I feel like I'm at. I'm between Rocky 1 and 2 here. I got knocked down, but now I'm almost back. Justin, you're my new manager.
You're back.
I'm feeling good about it. Yeah, Tony really flattered me in this interview, too, so I might still be blushing. You can't see me, but I may still have a little blush on.
That's great.
All right. Now, I'm trying to think. Is there anything else this is a very casual meetup. There is a chance maybe. So, Justin, you did a little reconnaissance for us if maybe we wanted to do a group slot pull or something like that. So that is in the realm of possibilities if we have, the right mix of people and the right interest in this.
Yes, and I just put in a request to film that day. So hopefully it'll get approved, and I think it shouldn't be a problem. Everyone in upper management knows me, so that should be pretty easy to obtain. I think getting a couple shots or going live in the Facebook group for the inaugural meetup at DraftKings could be a possibility, and then maybe if we do have enough interest in a slot pull, we'll go live again at a high limit machine up in Woodlands.
Ooh, that'd be very fun. So yeah, at the very least, I'm gonna definitely want to hassle everyone that comes to this meetup. We'll all have our matching bracelets on, and I would love for us to get a nice group picture together because I feel like there's a strength in numbers approach to doing events like this. And you know what? If we get a good few dozen people there, we're having a good time, we're giving Foxwoods business, they're going to probably love having a group like us there. Because one thing that's nice about gamblers is, for the most part, we're all very respectful of the casinos because we like going there so much.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Which is like, you could get those, like the cheerleaders, those little kid cheerleaders, they don't have any respect for the games. They don't at all. They don't understand it. But us, you don't say 7 at the craps table. That's one of the rules. They don't.
Right.
Don't even say. I don't care how old you are. 6, 7. You don't say it. Forget about it. But
Exactly.
that is so. I that's pretty good for our meetup there. I mean, am I missing anything, Justin, that we should really talk about here? But this is just going to be a fun gathering. I'm wearing just my hoodie, probably jeans and a hat. There, I'm not going to be in a tuxedo or anything crazy. So show up comfortably.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no, I'm not dressing up. We could put it to the test. What is better, face up or face down?
Ooh, a little pie gow competition. That'd be fun.
We could.
Yeah, no.
Yes, we could.
I call playing face down. But
Same.
Actually,
same.
After this interview, maybe we'll get a little face up pie gow in your trip report, huh?
You might.
Oh, I can only imagine how it went. All right, well, let's see. You know what, Justin? I guess we'll jump into Tony Snyder from 360 Vegas podcast. Old pal of mine, used to go out there to those 360 Vegas vacations. We had a lot of fun together. They did some great ones, and actually, he came out. I think it was a Zork Fest in Atlantic City. Tony came out from Michigan, was there for that, and he's really a great community member for the gambling podcasters. And one thing I did learn, and I knew he did this a little bit, but he's been getting recipes from the Vegas bars and cocktail lounges, and he's been on the 360 Vegas Patreon. He's been showing people how to make these cocktails. He started doing it during COVID when they couldn't go to Vegas, so like how to make the Sinatra Smash, how to make all these other drinks out there. So Tony is also he used to host a Vice Lounge online podcast. We used to work together sometimes on stuff, and it's great to hear that he still has that passion for everything. And you know what? If you want to learn to make a cocktail, maybe I'll have him back on the show because I forgot how to make the Sinatra Smash.
That would be amazing.
But I flattered him enough, right? You still got to hear from him for 45 minutes here. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome on Tony Snyder from the 360 Vegas podcast. All right, I am here live on the horn with, I would kind of say, a Cousin Vito Casino podcast legend in a way. One of the co-hosts of 360 Vegas, one of the longest running Vegas podcasts, Tony Snyder. It is great to have you back on the show.
Vito, buddy, thank you very much for having me. And let me be one of many to say welcome back. It's exciting to get to hear your voice again. I think you provide a podcast option for a lot of folks who, the Northeast area of the country kind of gets glossed over, in my opinion, and there's a lot of stuff available. And I'm just glad to have you back creating content again for us to get to listen and live vicariously through you.
Thank you, Tony. And I've been living vicariously through you during my podcast break here. And, immediately you popped in my head because I've been putting together a little Great Thursday casino meetup for Foxwoods on April 17th. And, this is kind of like a loose, rough meetup, but I was like, I need to talk to somebody who has experience with this, who's lived through it all. And you popped in my head almost immediately because we've had some great times swinging from the chandeliers at the 360 Vegas vacation. So I hope you don't mind if I pick your brain on, what worked, what didn't, what was fun, and maybe what you would do for a meetup like this.
Yeah, no, it's my pleasure. I think there's good reason why they don't allow us in the same casino at the exact same time anymore. We were we were troublemakers. And so it's smart. It's smart. You'll take one half of the country, I'll take the other half of the country, and between the two of us, hopefully we'll stay out of jail that way.
Oh, yeah, and then maybe one day we'll meet up in the middle again. Actually, hopefully one day soon I'll be meeting up in Vegas with you again.
That'd be great. That'd be great, man. Well, this is exciting. I think you've got a really cool and fun idea planned out. And I think if I had like my overarching umbrella statement would be don't get too specific with things. I think that ends up just being more work for you and as a host than anything else. That's probably the biggest takeaway that Mark and Karen and I have figured out after doing what will be 15 of ththese, 15 of these, is that the more you plan, the more room there are for glitches to occur. And that becomes stressful. And when it's stressful, it's not fun. And that's not the purpose of these meetups. These meetups are supposed to be just a bunch of people who have a good time. They've got the same thing in common, which is they love casinoing. And so my overarching advice would be is keep it kind of loose and fun. You can plan some things, but I wouldn't make anything too hard and fast because, like I said, when glitches pop up, it adds an unnecessary level of stress.
Oh yes, and I could feel that because when you put a tight itinerary together, you know how it is at the casino. Sometimes I'll go to the craps table, I'll play for an hour, but if things are going well, I don't want to have to go meet at the coffee shop at 3:30 because I said I was going to be there. Maybe I push it back and say at 5:00 we'll all have a nice casual meetup somewhere, as opposed to something I need your RSVP, it costs this much, this is that. More of a fluid thing where even the people that are coming to hang out, they don't have to rush to get somewhere. They can say, all right, they're going to be there for a couple hours hanging out. Once I'm done with my bonus round in the slot, I'll head over there.
That is exactly, Vito, that is exactly how we try to plan our, particularly the first night. We'll always do just a basic meet and greet somewhere at a bar, usually a bar at the casino, but we'll pick a bar that's got some big open spaces. Case in point, we've done a meetup at the Vegas Vicky on the main floor of the Circa. It's a large open area space. So as people start to show up, you've got plenty of room to mingle. You've got some elbow room. You can get yourself a cocktail as you're meeting and greeting folks. But in regard to that aspect too, I guess another best practice, Vito, is to remember that you're a host. And I think the key part to a successful meet and greet is making sure that you are hosting people that show up. It's a little awkward as the host because you have to say, hey, are you here for the Vito meetup? And when they go, no, what the hell is that? You go, nice to meet you. Have a great night. And you do an about face and walk away, right? But when they go, yeah, you'll be like, well, I'm Vito. It's nice to meet you. What's your name? And they say, oh, my name is Tony. Tony, I'm glad you're here. Where are you from, man? I'm from Michigan. Oh, you know who else is from Michigan? My buddy Chuck over here. Let me bring you over and introduce you to Chuck. The point to all of that, Vito, is to say you got to make sure that you're introducing your guests to one another so that they know everybody, because arguably some folks are going to be brand new to your meetup and they may only know you from your podcast. They've never been to a meetup before. They don't know anybody else. They might know folks from maybe their Twitter handles, and that's an okay. I'll introduce a lot of people by their first name as well as their Twitter handle, and then or X, but I'll forever and a day call it Twitter. And a lot of times we'll be like, oh, yeah, I've seen you on Twitter. It's nice to meet you, right? And then what I'll do is I'll tell that person that I just introduced them to then please take this guest and go introduce them to someone else, right? So it's a friendly handoff. You talk to folks, you meet and greet with one another, you exchange some pleasantries, and then that person that you just got introduced to, he will take you or she will take you over to somebody else and we'll introduce you to that person and hand them off to that. And it should just be kind of a daisy change. You'll just go from one person to the next, getting that newbie introduced to one another, unless you're all newbies. And if everybody's new and nobody knows anybody, cool. Then you just kind of make like a big circle and you stand around and you just start to introduce people one by one to each other. And then people will start to kind of form little cliques. And I don't mean clique in a bad way, but they'll break up into natural 2 and 3 person conversations and then they'll meld to a different group of people. But that's your job, Vito, is the host. You got to make sure that you are initiating those conversations between the folks that don't know each other because they want to be there, right? But even as much as of an extrovert as I am, Vito, I still feel very self-conscious in a brand new place that I'm at where I don't know anybody. And if there's one thing that frustrates the hell out of me, it's when the hosts of whatever I'm at aren't quote unquote playing host. And so I think that's one of the best tips and tricks I can really give you to have a successful meetup, because the cool part is you're going to keep doing these, Vito. And as you do these, then what's going to happen is you're going to start getting repeat friends showing up. And once you get the repeat friends, then it's that much easier to bring the newbies into the fold, because you know 4 or 5 different people, and you can walk around and talk to these 4 or 5 different people with the new person, and that melds them into the group that much faster. But this one right now that you're about to do, you're going to have to do most of the legwork, buddy, because this is going to be your event. So remember, if you're going to be a host, you got to host your guests.
All right. No, and you know what? That does that hits it right on the head for what we're doing, because we were talking prior to this. We have 6 p.m. We have some spots reserved at DraftKings at Foxwoods. We're all going to hang out. Right now, I have it just set for a cocktail hour. But again, like you're saying, you want it to be a little loose. So maybe cocktail hour. Maybe that's a little tight for, you get a few dozen people there hanging out, and we're kind of fostering. It's almost like for this first one, I'm trying to foster the building of this community, as opposed to say, oh, hey, how you doing? Yeah, I'm Vito. Oh, hey, how you doing? I'm Vito. We want everyone to be like a big rogue gang at the casino together. We all have this like-minded recreational gambling love for all different things casino. And while you're at this thing, you could start saying, oh, you're a video poker player too, or oh, you like the Pai Gow poker, oh, roulette guy. And people could start building their own interpersonal relationships. And I mean, that's kind of what the meetup is all about. Like, I'm doing it as a fun thing to, come say hi to people, and kind of gives me an excuse to, spend the night at the Foxwoods also.
Hell yeah.
But realistically, the idea of this at its heart is to, build a community of like-minded recreational gamblers where you say, oh, yeah, let's go get a cocktail. Oh, I'm at Foxwoods tonight. And then a bunch of people could say, oh, I'm going to be there later. Let's go get something to eat or something. So I'm actually, I guess I don't have my pen out. Let me get my pen here, because that is a great, I guess I can listen to this.
You could listen to the whole thing.
Listen back to this. Yeah, I guess I don't have to.
Imagine if you just recorded the conversation, you'd have it for posterity.
Yeah, no, I should just record this. All right, so that is a great piece of advice, especially for something like a cocktail hour meetup where most people are going to be standing around. Hopefully, they're going to have cocktails. I'm assuming, we get some apps flowing too. We have some tables, so if people want to come eat, I'm still torn on if I should eat before or after. And that's one thing I did learn with 360 Vegas about meetups and the Gamblepaloozas I used to do, and even the Zork Fest and stuff. You got to eat. Sometimes you put off eating, and then you're having cocktails. You're up all night, and all of a sudden you're starving, and sometimes a little sustenance in your stomach will help you last a lot longer.
I think that's an excellent best practice, Vito. And it also then plays into that point that I'm making about being the host. Let your guests eat and nibble on the finger foods, right? You've already eaten, so that you have the ability then to start going around and making those connections with the folks that are there. So yes, as a host, I highly recommend you eat ahead of time. You probably won't have time to do it when you're in the swing of things. Yeah. And here's the thing too, people want to talk to you, right? Like, they're there because they know you through the podcast. So they want to talk to you, which means, and that's a great problem to have, right? But when everybody's coming up and wanting to chat with you and have conversations with you, it makes it harder then for you to be able to sneak away to ingest, some food. So yes, as the host, my recommendation is absolutely I would eat ahead of time, and then encourage your the friends to go eat and get stuff while you're continuing the networking aspect.
All right. Yeah. And actually, one thing I did include this time is I got some little, I have 50 nice rubber bracelets that say make luck happen. Hopefully they're going to be lucky rubber bracelets. So the first 50 people that come there, we're all going to have our matching lucky rubber bracelets on.
Very cool. That is a very cool idea, man. That is actually something I'd never even considered before. Great idea.
Oh, thank you, Tony. And so you've been doing this for years, though. So obviously, I want to zap all the advice I can out of you. But to pick your brain now, you've been doing. When was the first 360 Vegas? We're talking like, geez.
Yeah, it was circa 2012, 2013, somewhere around there. We're up to Vegas Vacation 15, which will be this June. But although that seems like a high number, we haven't actually been doing it for 15 years. For a while, we were doing 2 Vegas vacations per year. We were doing them every 6 months, just because we had teachers, for example, who said, "Man, I'd really like to get out to a Vegas vacation, but I usually can't do it because you're doing it during the school year. Have you guys ever considered a different time?" And we would do it around like the Labor Day time, where teachers could come out just before they were going back to school. But after COVID, we got to the point where, like, no, once we got out of the pandemic, we were like, let's just go back to one time a year. But yeah, man, and here's the best part. Like, I'm more than happy to share with you, Vito, what works for us and what hasn't worked for us. For example, here's something that hasn't worked for us, and that is trying to make restaurant reservations. Restaurant reservations, at least in Vegas, are very, very difficult to do, because what will traditionally happen is the restaurants will want more out of us than we're willing to give them. And what I mean by that is they either, or some combination thereof, want the entire group of, let's just say, 40 people to show up before they'll sit us, and or they want to put all 40 people on one check, or they will require and I'm making this up, but they'll require some sort of deposit of maybe like $20 a head to reserve, a room for 40 people, or however many, whatever the number is that we're going to book. And so we just said, to hell with that. We're done. That's no fun. That was one of the stressors in doing these events. And so we just tell people, you're on your own for dinner. Go pick wherever you want to eat, when you want to eat. And maybe, quite frankly, it's not uncommon, Vito. We'll have people that meet up together at the meet and greet,
and
go off and they'll go have dinner exactly together. So you've got brand new friends that have just met one another going off and bonding, at dinner, going to eat somewhere. So, that's, like I said, that was a best practice that we kind of had to learn the hard way, because inevitably when people don't show up and you've got a reservation for 40 and only maybe 30 people have shown up, well, you've either given deposits and or can't get seated and or whatever the case might be. And it was just, that was one of those stressors that we said, we don't want to do this anymore. This is not fun. So we've scratched doing any sort of group meals together. But like I said, that might maybe perhaps be a Vegas problem. Maybe you wouldn't necessarily have that at Foxwoods. I don't know. But those are things that I would keep in mind and maybe chat with the restaurant about ahead of time, if you ever walk that path of thinking you do want to do some sort of giant group meal together.
Well, honestly, it's pretty much like that everywhere, I'd say, because we did look into that a little bit, even with this DraftKings, like, oh, they have a side room, you could do this, but the overhead and the commitment of it makes it not as fun for a meetup, because then you're saying, all right, well, we have this many people, they said they're going to be here, where are they, what's going on? And you're more worried about trying to figure out, all right, we have this one big tab, because I forget what the DraftKings was, but it was something like that, where you need to spend a certain amount ahead, and it's like, maybe somebody wants to go there and have a big meal and a bunch of cocktails, but maybe somebody just wants to come there and have a club soda and say hi and hang out for a minute, maybe get one appetizer, where it isn't conducive to have a big group go out to a dinner like that.
Yeah, exactly, buddy. So it sounds like you've threaded the needle with this particular setup you've got with DraftKings.
Well, and the seating situation also, I'd say, because when you go to do we're all going to go out to dinner, sometimes they give you a big long table, sometimes it's a bunch of different tables, and it's like, everyone wants to go out to dinner, but if you go out to dinner and you're stuck with maybe one person a couple strangers you may or may not know, and you're there to maybe hang out with a couple people and say hello, it almost constricts the social aspect of really what you want to be a social gathering.
That's right. That's a great observation. Absolutely right.
Now I'm gonna do a little primer. You had a little problem with your dinner meetups. Are there any other meetups that you had that were like, wow, this went off the rails? We're never doing this again?
What a great question. Let me think about if we've ever had anything really go astray. We've had situations where we maybe didn't pick the best location for the purposes of trying to have a meetup, meaning the place ended up being a little too small, or there were other people, and so you kind of take over this place, and so some of the folks that are in the area are your people, and some of the people aren't your people, and you don't really know who's with who. That's one aspect, but by and large, I think that the extent of the dinner was probably the worst aspect of trying to orchestrate something. Every once in a while we've tried to plan something where, oh, here's something. This is kind of fun. And I don't mind talking about this on the podcast. I don't think that I'm speaking ill, but Derek Stevens and his club up at the top of Circa, they've got a really nice cocktail lounge at the top of Circa, Legacy Club. That's it.
Okay.
And Legacy Club will allow you to make reservations for free for like parties of, and I'm making this number up, I'd have to go back and check specifically, but let's just say it's for parties of like 6 or less, you can make reservations for free. But if you want to make reservations for a group larger than, say, this proverbial 6 number that I've picked out of thin air, well, then you got to actually pay for it up front. Now, whether you're just, and again, it's been a couple of years since this was definitely pre-pandemic since we did this, but effectively what we did is there are 3 of us. There's Mark, his wife, Karen, and myself. So Mark made a reservation for 6 people, and I made a reservation for 6 people, and Karen made a reservation for 6 people. And then in the little reservation box, when it said any, requests, I just said, yes, I'd like to have my table of 6 near Mark's reservation and Karen's reservation. Well, they were very nice about it. I mean, they ended up putting us all in one big group area together. But as we were coming up the elevator, the young lady that was bringing us up said, well, next time, we put you all together this time, but next time you really need to make a reservation online for 18 people if that's how you're going to do it. And I said, well, you charge for that, and we don't know who's going to show up. And so we specifically went around your plan, your system, and broke it up into 3 reservations for 6 because of your requirement that we had to pay you money to make reservations just to come and pay you money to drink your cocktails. Which, she kind of understood where I was coming from, and she goes, "Oh, okay, okay. Well, just keep that in mind for next time." And she let it go. Now we've never been back to Legacy Club because we don't want to push the issue. But those are things where, again, we're just like, we're trying to give you money. We're trying to bring people to you to take our money, and why are you throwing these roadblocks up? So those are just the little things and you wouldn't know that until you called and tried to, make reservations for, again, say the Legacy Club under this sort of hypothetical. But those are the reasons why you also do need to put a little bit of forethought into making some phone calls and reaching out to folks and let them know what's going on. If for no other reason, then, and I especially appreciate, Vito, they will say for dinner, for example, with the dinners, they'll say, we just want to make sure we have enough servers on staff to accommodate your size of a group. And I respect the heck out of that. I absolutely do. So that's why I think there's value in at least reaching out and letting them know what's going on, as opposed to just randomly showing up with a group of 24 people and them going, and their eyes get like saucers because they're just like, how are we ever going to accommodate this many people, infused into our little tiny restaurant? So, just a little, I think moral of the story is just to say, giving them a little bit of a heads up is also appreciated on their end as well.
All right. Okay. That's actually, it's great advice, because last thing you want to do is show up in a place and they don't have the staff, especially when you're going out to dinner, a table of 18, you get 20 people just show up with no reservation. You all be sat together. That could really throw things a little haywire, especially like, for instance, I'm on a Thursday night. So sometimes,
for sure, when they probably don't.
Sometimes Thursday night, you're like, it's not a big night around here.
You get it. That's exactly right. And you want, they want to make sure that you have good service, that you have a good experience, and want to come back and say good things about, the food and the service. So, I respect the heck out of that. But so, yeah, another heads up is just, call the folks ahead of time and let them know what you're thinking and what you're planning.
Now, between me and you, we definitely have the eating and drinking experience here, but I want to get into a little bit of the gambling things to do, because right now, this meetup, we just have casual group gaming after our cocktail hour, which right now at 60 minutes seems like a good amount of time, but as I'm talking to you, thinking about people mingling, having a good time, I'm almost thinking maybe I stretch that hour out a little bit, because that could go really fast, especially, not everyone's going to get there at 6. They might show up at 6:30 6:15. You get to talking. You get there at 6:30. You want to get a cocktail. You gotta wait a few minutes. So maybe cocktail hour might be longer. But for group gaming, do you have any good group gaming advice? I know you guys. What was it? The slot races you used to do. You had a couple things. I was thinking. They do the group slot pulls, which I'm not organizing for this time, but there did seem to be some interest in maybe a future slot pull. What are your thoughts and experiences with wrangling group gaming together so it's a fun experience?
So two thoughts here, Vito. Point number one is you make an excellent point on playing a little fast and loose with your 1 hour for your cocktail event. I think one of the greatest compliments that your guests can give you is when they want to stay and stand around and chat with everybody. The group, everybody melds into one big group, and they're having such a great time that they're still hanging out well past your original 1 hour block of time to talk, because they genuinely are enjoying everybody's company. So I think that, don't be afraid to push. And that's one of the things that we'll try to do too, is everything is a bit fluid. We'll say for the most part that we're going to do a meetup at 4:00 with group gaming at 6:00, but that's very, very fluid. It might end a little early. It might extend a little later. But as it relates then to the group gaming, what's fun about that is, and it's harder and harder to do, this was much easier to do back in 2012, 2013 than it is per se in 2025. What's so much fun about slot races is there used to be a time where you still had the old school 3-reel slots where you would pull the arm and the 3 reels would one by one stop, and you were looking for, a bar, and a doubler maybe, or something like that. Well, the goal with the slot races is you would have they would all be the same, so they would traditionally be either 2 credits or 3 credits for the slot machine. And you pick your dollar amount. I'm just going to say $20 just to make the hypothetical easy here, right? And let's just say it was a 3-reel double cherry machine. What you would do is you would find a bank of these slot machines that had 3 credits that were maybe, let's just say, a quarter denomination, and you would take over like a bank of 12 of them, and everybody would put a $20 bill into the machine that they were sitting at. And the goal was you would have to hit the bet one button, but you would press it 3 times. So you're always doing max bet, but you would have to press the bet one button 3 times so that you would hit your 3 credits. And then you had to physically pull the arm on the slot machine. And the goal was you wanted to lose your $20. You wanted to be the first person to lose your $20, because the person that lost their $20 first was the winner. Everybody immediately had to stop gambling. They had to cash out however much was left in their machine. They had to cash that out, and they had to give it to the quote unquote winner, the person who lost their $20 first.
It sounds like a race I could win, actually.
It was, buddy, you wouldn't believe the number of people that would start swearing up a storm when they would get like bar doubler, because they were down to like 1 or 2 spins left, and then all of a sudden they get this infusion of $5 or $10. Now, to be clear, there was also an opt-out bonus or an opt-out option, meaning let's just say you hit something really good. Let's just say the stars align and you get that double diamond, and you just won max bet, or you won any amount that you wanted to keep. You could do that if you wanted to do that. Let's just say you randomly won $100 on that slot machine. If you wanted, you could immediately stop, you could cash out, and then you would merely have to give $20 out of your winning ticket proceeds to the quote unquote loser. So if you won something, you won $100, you started with 20, you think, well, hell, I can still give $20 to the loser of the slot game, and I'm still $80 ahead. I'll take that. And people would do that as well. But the goal was you wanted to lose your $20 first, because then everybody else had to give you their remaining ticket. And it could, especially if you're playing with 12 people, 10 people, you're getting tickets that may not be much, but even if there were $7 or $8 times 10 people, Well, all of a sudden, you've got $80 worth of cash out tickets, and then it only cost you the $20 that you lost into your slot machine. So that was one of the things that we really enjoyed doing. I understand that a lot of people do enjoy the group slot pull. That is, and this is coming even from an attorney. So, if I think it's far too complicated, I have no interest in dealing with any of the potential BS drama that can come from getting people to sign waivers and getting the pay, because the thing is here, the person who hits the button that causes there to be a big win on a slot machine is the one who, by law, gets that money. So you get some jackwagon who wins $1,200 on a slot pull and proverbially flips the middle finger to all the other people that were playing with him and pockets the $1,200 and says, "See ya, suckers! I'm getting the hell out of here." You got very little recourse to handle it outside of whatever contracts you may have people sign up. But who the hell wants to chase down and go through small claims court trying to get, so that's that. I think if you're going to do a group slot pull, it really needs to be with a group of people that you really, truly know, like, and trust that will, if you end up hitting something that is a decent hit, truly will share it with the rest of the group, like is the intention of the spirit of doing a group slot pull.
I'm curious if there's any horror stories from group slot pulls, because I don't have my finger on the pulse. I'm sure there's all sorts of slot channels. People are doing them. I'm sure they're still around. But I'm curious if there has been that type where somebody is just like, I don't care if everyone hates me. I'm taking this $10,000 bonus here, and I'm out of here, guys.
Exactly right. I'm quite all right with a whole bunch of people really hating me if I'm $10,000 richer. So, I get that. I can see how somebody would have that philosophy, and I figure that what a fast way to ruin a really great time and experience and concept overall.
You'll have all people celebrating until the guy leaves
right.
with the ticket.
So it's like, hang on, I gotta go check my room for something, and next thing you know, he's like Homer Simpson, just pulling out of the bar at 100 miles an hour. So, yeah. But that is a way to get folks engaged and enjoying, time together gambling. But there are other things that you can do too. I mean, one of the things that we've really found that we like, that's easier to do now in 2025 than it was back in 2012, are those little roll to win electronic tub type craps tables.
Yes.
Those, I think, work really well because you can have a much lower table limit, and so you can get more people feeling comfortable to play craps together, at a game, when you're not at a, even for me, in my opinion, $15 for a craps table minimum is a lot of money, because
it's not as fun as it used to be with the $5.
No, I completely see. For me, Vito, though, the reason I find craps to be such a fun game is because I want to have a lot of money out on the table. I like to place numbers. I like to back my pass line up with some odds. I like doing those things, and those are things that I can't do as comfortably at $15. $15 as I can at $5. But you get some of these little smaller tub tables, and the table limits are much more appropriate, $5 or $10, which is something I'm far more comfortable at, because as well as I do, you get 2 or 3 or 4 shooters 7ing out after they make point, and that's just no fun. You've lost your money
in a massacre.
15 minutes. Yeah. So that is something that I would recommend is trying to look for games like a craps table where you've got a low limit. Now, something you can do, we've done this in the past, which is we've reached out to the casino before, and we'll say, hey, any chance we could reserve a table? How low of a table limit could you give us if we could promise you what number of players you would want? If we could promise you we could completely fill up a table, 7 on one side, 7 on the other, can you get us a $5 table? And some places have done that. Now, let's be clear, they're usually the lower end places. It's going to be somewhere like maybe an Excalibur or a Luxor will do that. But it's not uncommon that if you can promise them, and then you got to promise them, usually 2 hours worth of play. I mean, they'll tell you about how many hours of play they're going to want. But at $5 a table with 14 people, it could easily take 2 hours, especially you get a couple of really great rollers, shooters. You could easily take 2 hours for it to even make one pass all the way around. So, that's something to consider too, is actually reaching out. But again, it takes a little bit of forethought. It does take a little bit of legwork having to call people, because you're going to call and you're not going to get the right person. You're going to call back and you're going to transfer to somebody else. Inevitably, you'll leave a voicemail for somebody who doesn't call you back. I mean, those are some of the frustrating things that you have to deal with if that's a route you want to go down. But I would recommend, that is an option. Now, I don't know enough about Foxwood, so forgive my ignorance if that is something that they would do. Maybe on a Thursday night, though, as you aptly point out, if that is perhaps a slower night, they might see, nothing but dollar signs, knowing that they've got 14 people standing at a craps table for 2 hours.
Well, and I'm also looking at this meetup as almost a proof of concept for the
Sure.
meetups, where you're saying, all right, if I call them now and there's some people I could email, they're going to want however much action, however much buy-in. They have, the way it is, they have their certain benchmarks they have to meet. They just can't be giving tables out. So, this guy called me out of the blue and wants a private table. Let me put my neck on the line. But you figure you do a meetup like this. We have and the key, one thing I love about the Vegas vacation, which actually is kind of comical here, is you still have the flicker up of I went to the one in May. I'm on the website now, actually looking at it. May 28th, 2017, Vegas vacation 4. But your trip pictures are still up there, and those big group shots of all of us hanging out and everyone with their cocktails waving and all that. That's, in a way, if you're trying to hold an event somewhere, that is a proof of concept saying, look, we're coming. It might be an off night, but there's going to be 40 to 50 people that their main thing is having fun and gambling at the casino that normally wouldn't be here without this event. So if we could accommodate, and I have done private poker tournaments and stuff like that at our local casinos where they have had private tables, like private craps tables, as part of the event that they put together. So this is like this is when you plant the seed, I think, and we're germinating a little, trying to get a little bean sprout to sprout out of the dirt here. And I think if we could get this sprout to come to life, that maybe next time I might be able to put a whole beanstalk together here.
I think you're absolutely right. And you got to start somewhere, man. You got to do it the first time and let the folks see that this is a legitimate group of people who like to get together and do these sorts of activities once a year. It's I have the luxury of being able to share with you 15 different iterations of what have and haven't worked. So take these as little nuggets of information and use them in a way that will end up working best for you and what you're looking to accomplish.
Well, and as I'm plagiarizing all your events here, I am noticing, at least for this year and the 2017 one that we went to, there was about a 2-hour window for all your meet and greets. Almost everyone at a 2-hour window. And there is one I'm thinking back to, and maybe you may or may not recall this. There was a meet and greet at the Bellagio at the Baccarat bar. And I remember us going there, and you had so many people in the group. And I remember them not wanting to accommodate anything. And I think it was probably Mark who was like, you know what, whoop, blew the whistle, was like, you know what, they don't want to accommodate us. Let's go. Let's follow me. We're going here. We're going to a different bar that actually wants to have 30 people buy cocktails right now and not have 2 people. Because there was like a couple of ladies sitting around with martinis. Like, it was empty. But then they were like, oh, we don't know. I don't know. They didn't know anything. And it's like, well, our money is green. Aren't you trying to sell cocktails? We're going to be, it's a bar. You know what I mean? It's not, we're not like in your hotel room here. This is advertised as a bar. And somehow you're taken back by the fact that there's actually people here that want to give you business, which that actually stood out to me as like, you blew the whistle, got us out of there, and we ended up having a great night. I forgot where we went to, but we went to another bar not too far away.
We did. We went across the street to what was then Bally's at their Indigo Lounge. And we had a great time. Yes, you're a great memory. Yeah, I'd kind of blocked that out. But there's an example of where they did not want anything to do with us. They would not. That was a situation where I believe they wanted us to be on, I think, maybe 2 tabs.
That might have been it. Yes.
Yeah. So... But again, that now to a certain degree, is that on us? Maybe, for just showing up and expecting that they would accommodate us. But I didn't think that folks would actually care, because what's the difference if you walk up with 24 people or however many of us that there were? Because for some reason I vaguely remember they wanted us to do 12 and 12, or maybe it was 15 and 15. But whatever the breakup was, the point we were trying to make to them was, what if we were all just 30 random individuals, or what if we were all just 15 random couples that walked up to you and wanted to have drinks? You wouldn't make 15 random couples all sit together or all go on one tab together. And so we said, well, to heck with this. We'll just go across the street. And we did. And the bartenders at the Indigo Lounge could not have been more appreciative that, I mean, it was dead. There was nobody in either bar because we were doing this on like a 2 p.m., right? Like
Yeah,
nobody's
Monday, 4 p.m. actually was the meetup. Prime time.
There you go. Yeah, right, exactly. At 4 p.m. on Monday, you would think they would be starving for some income. And gosh darn it, the bartenders at Indigo Lounge at Bally's could not have been more accommodating to us. And it was just a great time. But I guess my point to that too is just to say that, this is one of the benefits of, say, Vegas versus an at location. And there's some pros and cons to this. So hear me out here. The pro to doing it in Vegas is if some place can't accommodate you on the fly, no problem. You can always go proverbially or literally across the street and try a different place. That's the pro. The con, however, is if you're at just one place, you can really build a relationship with that location. So, for example, Foxwoods could say, we can't wait for Cousin Vito to show up at this particular weekend every year because we know he's going to have all of these people here bringing an infusion of cash, whether it be for our alcohol, our food, or our gambling. You can build that relationship and you can build on that relationship year after year. So there are pros and cons to doing it our way and doing it your way. You just got to find what that pro is and just make sure that you're maximizing that to its nth degree.
And as we're talking about, having people love the meetups here, I scrolled on 360vegaspodcast.com. I'm looking at your upcoming meetup, Tony. And, it actually is a time of year I might be able to make it out there. We got to see, got to talk to the wife, get the babysitter. But I'm looking how you guys have done it this year. And you're really practicing what you're preaching. We're seeing, your starts on a Sunday, which is a great day to start a multi-day meetup because people can get in, the rooms are checked out. Usually Sunday nights are generally a little lighter than that Saturday. And you guys are doing just what you're saying. You have a meet and greet at the Downtown Grand at 4 p.m., then 6 p.m., group gaming at the Downtown Grand. One location, you're hanging out, and everyone could, I want to go play video poker. You go play, but then you come back, oh yeah, they're going to be at the craps table. That group's going to be over there playing Pai Gow, and it really creates that, I'm missing the adjective I want to describe it, but almost like a sandbox style gaming experience where you're not strapped to do one thing, where you kind of want to be free as a bird and do what you got to do. And you're setting that up, that atmosphere with the way your itinerary is here.
That's what we try to do. We want folks to have an opportunity to get together, say, hey, man, how you been? I haven't seen you since last year. What's going on? Here's somebody new. Who are you? What brings you here? What do you do? Where are you from? And then as you build those relationships or build upon those relationships based on coming back year after year and getting to know folks, then you naturally start to break off and go, man, this has been really great, but I'm kind of itching here. I got the itch coming on and I need to throw some dice or I need to flip some cards over, or whatever you want to go and play. And so you just naturally then start to break off. And it's amazing. We kind of took over the bar area. There's a particular area at Downtown Grand where there's the table games, then there are a bunch of high top tables, and then there's the bar. And so we first took over the bar area and the high top tables. And then it was amazing. We just melded into the tables that were right next to the high top tables that we were sitting at having our drinks initially. And so the next thing you know, people are standing at the craps table and they're, you're like, you just hear this. And that's, of course, the best part about craps, right? When that whole table just screams bloody murder because the person finally nailed the point. And you look over and you're like, what is happening over there? And you recognize that everybody at that table is a part of your meetup. And that's exactly what happened. And then when people were done with craps, they might have meandered over to the blackjack table and sat down with a couple of other folks. I played some game last year that I don't even remember the table game, Vito, but a bunch of friends that had shown up for the meet and greet sat down at this one random table. I had no idea what I was doing. I'd never played it before. I'm not gonna lie, I'm half in the bag because I've had some cocktails as we're doing the meet and greet. And it was the you can bet on that guys. Where they're teaching me
Mark and Dr.
Yes.
Mike. Yeah.
Yes. Where they're kind of walking me through how to play it. And I think Bogan was there, and I think Andrew Corrington were there. And people are like, okay, just do. And like and the dealer was super cool. Like the dealer had no shits to give because we're tipping like crazy. We're having a really good time. We're fun. We're a happy just group of people. So like I'm kind of showing my hand to the whole table, and they'll be like, okay, take these cards and these cards and put these cards here. And I'm like, cool. And sometimes I won and sometimes I lost, and I didn't even care because it was just such a fun experience. But that's exactly it. That's the goal is if you do the meet and greet somewhere where you're also generally within some group gaming area, it'll happen naturally. You just let it naturally occur.
Well, and honestly, the social aspect of the gambling is something that I don't say it gets lost on people, but most of the time when somebody becomes a recreational gambler, usually you've had that fun experience or that warm feeling. I used to go, with my grandfather, we'd go play roulette, or we'd play slots with my mother, or me and my cousins would go and play. And this kind of rekindles that for everybody, because you have people that they like the casino, but they need to find like-minded people, because you go to the casino, there's people there that are miserable. Sometimes it's you go sit at a blackjack table, it's like, it's almost like the people have a prison sentence, and there's, you know what I mean? And there's trapped there. You can't leave. Where this is fun, because when you don't go with people that are like-minded, you can go play these games. Maybe you haven't played a game before. Maybe, I don't normally play this Ultimate Texas Hold'em, but I'm going to have a table full of people that I'm friends with there. What the heck? Let me go play. And realistically, mathematically, you have just as much of a chance to win on most of these games, within a few percentage points here. But usually it's not a big deal to get yourself out of your comfort zone, especially when you're with, these people that maybe you just became friends with, or people you're rekindling friendships with. And even those names you mentioned, like, for instance, like a Bogan. Me and Bogan, we've seen each other. I saw him at 360 Vegas. I saw him at Zorkfest. It's almost like he has his own little fan club these days, because he attends these events and you get to know him.
Sure.
You really do get to know these people when you start to go to these events often, and it's like your own little clique that you have, and in a good way, a good clique.
Absolutely right. Exactly right. And that's the best part too, is then when take the proverbial Bogan that we're speaking of, when he's at these different things and he meets people, he naturally becomes an excellent networker of being able to connect then other folks that might be from. So you might have people that are coming from a 360 Vegas event and a Zorkfest coming to Cousin Vito's event, and Bogan is the nucleus, between all of those groups to bring the people together. But that's the fun part about these group meetup events is you meet more people and you start to realize it's kind of a small world. And I mean that in a good way. It's kind of a small little world that we live in, and we get to know one another, and we like people. We want to hang out with these people because, as you aptly point out, they're like-minded.
And Tony, we're running long here. I'm almost at 45 minutes. I want to thank you for getting. I could talk for like another hour with. We got to hang. Next time I do one of these, Tony, I'm gonna have to drag you out here. If this one's a success, and we do, maybe I'll do a Gamblepalooza 3 finally. Maybe I'll have to try and drag you out. Have you been out to these Connecticut casinos before?
Never. And you guys are very high on the top of my bucket list. So it will nary take any sort of arm twisting to get me to head on out. Frankly, you tell me, not that I expect you to know Delta's flight patterns, but if I'm flying out of the Detroit Metro Airport, where does one fly into to get up to the Connecticut?
So that really is the caveat, is because you could fly into Hartford, or you could fly into, I believe, Providence, and both of them are, they're a little bit of a ride away, probably about under an hour to each of them. But it's not like a Vegas experience where you get out there, you hop in your cab, and you're there in like 10 minutes. So
Gotcha.
There is that piece to it where you don't want it to come for a night or two. You're like, sometimes you want to stay a little bit longer because of that piece of the cab or whatever you got to get from there, or man, I guess it's actually that is a caveat. That might be something if I do a meetup and I have a bunch of you guys flying in, I'll have to figure out for you is how to get you guys here. I mean, I guess everyone could split an Uber or something, but that is the one holdup. Now, I think it might have been a Zorkfest in Atlantic City. Did you come down to Atlantic City for one of the events?
I did, and I had to fly into to Philly, and then I rented a car and took a car drove from Philly into Atlantic City, which was about a 45-minute drive, so it wasn't bad at all.
Similar experience for the Connecticut casino, probably. Yeah, you fly in and then but that's an extra added little cost on the trip that you have to take into consideration. So.
Sure,
but who knows? I'll book you. We'll get Adam Bauer. We'll get a couple of the podcast bigwigs over here, and we'll rent you a car.
That would be a damned good time, man.
Oh,
absolutely.
Oh, I'm getting excited. All right, so this is great. All right, I'm feeling great now. I feel good. I talked to Tony. I'm feeling good. I kind of reopened all these memories I had about the successes of the Vegas vacation. And before I let you get out of here, Tony, you have yours coming up, South Strip centric. So a little theme here: Vegas Vacation 15, June 22nd to 24th. I already mentioned Sunday you have a nice downtown grand meetup, and following on Monday you have looks like a little Luxor meetup. We have a little playground at Luxor at 1 p.m. and then a nice meet and greet at 6 p.m. with a whole bunch of podcasters and authors and stuff. Dave Schwartz is going to be there. You can bet on that. The Better Life. Wow, it's a who's who. And then Tuesday, I like how you guys throw in the Vegas exercise experience at 8 a.m. That's one that I'm sure is you get a different clique of people that show up to that than show up to the Craps event.
You're absolutely right. I tip my hat that this is something that has become so popular that our dear friend at Raising Las Vegas is willing to put together. She does it. She's very much an outdoorsy person. She lives in Vegas. She knows the fun places to go check out at 8 a.m. in June. It's only partially a miserable time to be outside, not a completely miserable time to be outside. So she'll take people to Painted Rocks or Red Rocks or something rocks. Fill in the blank rocks, because it is
there's a lot of rocks out there.
Exactly right. And these people seem to have a really good time. They actually enjoy being out in the middle of the desert in what's only maybe 97 degrees instead of 110 degrees because it's so early in the morning, but they love it, and so good on them. They can have it. But yeah, we try to highlight a different chunk of the strip every time we do it. So we consider South Strip to be anything that is from MGM Grand to across the street, New York on down to Mandalay Bay. We consider that South Strip. Central Strip is exactly what you'd think of. Paris and Piho and Bellagio and Caesar's Palace and Flamingo. And then quote unquote North Strip, you're getting into like Venetian, TI, maybe Harrah's. We try not to go any further north than that because it's just, there's so much walking space between Fontainebleau and
it's tough to say, let's go to the Strat.
Yeah. Exactly right. You get that. So this time it's South Strip. We're doing stuff at we'll just, and that's the fun part too, is we've only got general ideas of what we're going to go do, but by and large, we'll just be kind of running between Luxor and Excal and Mandalay Bay, because they're all connected by a tram. So you just jump on the little tram or you can just walk it, quite frankly, from one to the next. If we're tired of being here, we can move there, and we never have to leave the comfort of air conditioning.
Ooh, I like that. The tram-centric Vegas vacation. Everyone stays in tram hotels, and you could, because the tram is, for me, it's something I always underutilize, because when I go out there, I enjoy the strip walk. I'm not there all the time, but I know people that, like Cousin Mikey, last time he went there, he was like the tram king. He was tramming everywhere. Wherever he stayed at the tram, and he never really utilized it. And he was like, I'm a tram guy now. This is my new thing, is I want to stay where the tram is. I could just hop on, have a coffee, relax, and shoot back to the room. I don't have to break a sweat.
Exactly right. And in June, anybody that's been out there knows that you're in the desert. I mean, it really gets incredibly, frankly, to some degree, dangerously hot. and so, yeah, I absolutely. Plus, I'm not exactly a thin fellow, Vito. I don't want to burn off any extra calories than I need to. That would be far too healthy of me. So I will absolutely take a tram to shuttle my fat ass from one casino to the next in the comfort of a 62-degree enclosed space, no questions asked.
We got to keep the layers for these cold winters here out northeast.
I mean,
Michigan,
I live in Michigan.
Cold winters.
Yes.
You can't be too skinny up here. You'll shiver to death.
That's exactly right, buddy. Well, listen, if you've got a couple of months, right? You've got about 8 weeks. If the stars align, we sure would love to add your name to the 360 family meet and greet as one of the podcasters that will be at the event for people to I know will want to meet you. So something to consider, man.
Oh, I definitely will. I'm going to have that penciled in. I got that. We have Zorkfest in December penciled in, and then who knows? Maybe I'll have a Gamblepalooza here in the fall. We could pencil in. This could be. We're making a comeback. Don't call it a comeback. Well, actually, it is a comeback because I've been gone for years. But it feels great to be back, Tony. You know, talking to you revitalized my love for the casino meetup, and hopefully, this isn't the last time I have you on the show. I feel like next time I want to get a little more down and dirty with you, some more gambling experiences, what you've been up to these days, and I mean, former Vice Lounge Online weekly segment on the podcast. I almost missed it a little bit. I was listening to the old shows. I could have shed a tear here in the Vice Lounge Online, guys.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, buddy, you have always been a very good and dear friend, and it would be my pleasure to help out in any way I can. If you can think of something that you think I could provide for your podcast to get you extra listeners, never hesitate to reach out. I'm more than happy. I am a big believer that a rising tide raises all ships. And when we've got these sort of podcasts that are out there talking about this sort of content, it just means that there are more ways for people to come and discover these fun podcasts, because nobody is going to make a mortgage payment off from any money that they might be pulling in from listeners. Quite frankly, it is nothing but a labor of love for almost all of us in some way, shape, or form. I do videos for the 360 Vegas Patreon group. I make cocktails, and it's all started actually during the pandemic. I had just a really nice long collection of cocktails that were made by bartenders in Las Vegas that I had gotten from the bartenders when I'd be at a restaurant somewhere. And I thought, well, wouldn't it be fun? Listen, if we can't be in Vegas right now because of the pandemic shutting everything down, what if we could bring a little bit of Vegas into our home? So I started making these cocktail videos. And they were, you know, the Sinatra Smash from Win, or the Bally's Old Fashioned from what was then Bally's, now Horseshoe. And I just had a slew of recipes, and so I started making these videos, and they caught on, and people were like, this is a lot of fun. And 5 years and approximately 140 cocktail videos later, I've just got all of these really cool drinks that are if not straight from Vegas, they're at least Vegas centric in some way, shape, or form. And it's just, I make literally nothing off from doing these. It is money out of my own pocket to go buy the ingredients to make the videos, but I love to make these videos. And so anything I can do for you, man, that I can do to help you be even more successful than you already are, you just got to ask. Seriously, you just got to ask.
Well, Tony, you can't tell I'm blushing right now, and thank you so much. And you know what? Don't put your phone off the hook, because I think next time I do a meetup here and I get a little ahead of time, I might try and have 360 Tony as one of our little meet and greet guests next time. Might just happen. The invitation might come out once we nail it down.
That would be awesome, buddy. I would absolutely, I would blush in return if I got such an invite.
Oh, thank you so much. And hopefully next time you're at the casino, you have some nice big wins.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. Thanks for letting me come on.
I'll talk to you soon, Tony.
Take it easy, buddy.
Oh, boy. I think I got a buzz just from sitting there talking to Tony for 45 minutes, Justin. How are you feeling?
That was amazing. Great knowledge.
And honestly, it's those little things that sometimes you don't think about. Like, we tease the dinner reservations, but you know what? You have a big party. Sometimes they want a deposit. Sometimes it makes it more complicated. Whereas, you go to a bar that wants to serve drinks, it's a lot easier. So, if we ever do a dining meetup, though, we'll have to just put a little extra thought into it. Because you know me, I love eating. That's kind of my other passion.
Yes. And I think just opening the floodgates here is a good first start.
Yeah, and you know what? It opened up our imagination, I feel like, as to what we could do. Because I would love, we're having this one in April, but I would love to look into the future. Hopefully this one is a success, and look into the future and say, you know what, maybe we do like they do a Sunday into Monday, Tuesday style one where it's a couple of days people can fly in and hang out, and we could really, make some new friends and have some great stories to tell.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Well, you know what? Speaking of stories to tell, Justin...
Trip report.
We're going to close the episode with a little trip report here. You were at Foxwoods recently. We were talking about it, and I was talking to you about how I was getting jealous. Sometimes Justin will send me his wins at video poker, so you inspired me. I bought into my little DraftKings account here. I had a couple bucks that I put on, and I ended up 6 timesing my buy-in and cashing out here. So I'm feeling really good. And it wasn't anything I figured it would be. Like I played some craps on there or a big sports bet. I was just, dinking around trying the new slots. And I was like Mr. Bonus. We're talking, I'm playing like little peanuts here. Bonus here, bang. Bonus there, bang. And I ended up probably getting, I think I was 8 times my buy-in. And then I cashed out 6 times of it and said, you know what? I'm going to play with the rest of this. And I got sucked into one of my perceived progression machines. So that's gone now. But I'm doing really good other than that. We withdrew our winnings to bring to the Great Thursday meetup, Justin. But
that's great.
You did inspire me. So I want to see how your night turned out, though, because I love watching your super time. I'm actually going to be seeking out a super time pay machine thanks to you.
Literally, they're all over the casino now. That's like every bar that only had Game Kings got switched over to the All-Star Poker too. So the only place you'll find the normal Game Kings now is in Top Golf. I don't think they upgraded their machines yet.
Oh, the Top Golf. Actually, I'm trying to think. The Top Golf's where they have the little video game, like the old arcade games in there too, right?
Yes.
I do have to say, a minor complaint. Last time I went there, I felt like there was a lot of malfunctioning games. It felt like my joysticks weren't right. I had a couple of problems with the arcade games. Hopefully they've been taking care of those, because I went with a cousin who doesn't gamble and he likes playing arcade games and ate our quarters or whatever. I forgot. I don't know if we got tokens or we got the game card. Yeah,
game card.
The card, and we lost the swipe. He was getting upset, but I was like, hey, you know what? This is like 2 spins on the slot machine, kiddo. So don't worry. We'll get another game card if you need it. But yeah, no, we had the old experience of getting your coins eaten.
Yeah, no, I've never actually played any of those games, and I've never actually done Top Golf, the Swing Suite either. So,
but you've enjoyed the video poker at the bar.
Yeah, usually when I go over there, I'll play Keno because you know me, I don't like one line. One line's boring.
Yeah,
they don't have multi-line over there. So,
and I'm happy to hear more people play Keno, because I do feel like an old maid when I switch to the Keno there. I'm like, can I turn the volume down? I want people to know.
Keno it can be where it's at.
So Justin, you went to Foxwoods, and you definitely are playing some video poker, and rumor has it you did play some Face Up Pie Gow. So I kind of want to dig into this before we get out of here, because I love hearing Pie Gow stories.
Sure. So we weren't really going this past weekend, but the kids wanted to go to the outlets. My daughter needed a dress for her 8th grade graduation coming up, so we decided to go to the outlets. And rule number 1 of protecting your ADT, I did not play with my card, because I knew I was not going to be there for very long.
Okay, not bad. So that was a quick trip then.
At first, till you start winning. And then it turned into, we were going down there. I had the free night, and then I'm like, oh, you want to book it? I don't know. And then I look and everything's sold out or paid. So I'm like, okay, so I'm just going to go down there, I started with $40, turned it into 100, put another $40 in, turned it into 150. I'm like, okay, this is starting out pretty good. And the girls went shopping, and then I'm like, okay.
So you didn't go dress shopping. You weren't going store to store and giving advice?
I was not. I was promoting my new adventure. So I was meeting new players, and just had a little video poker session. So we walked away up a couple bucks there, and ended up at Wahlburgers for lunch.
Ooh, how was the Wahlburgers lunch?
I got to tell you, Vito, it's getting better. Like,
wow.
It is getting better. I'm plain Jane. I do the R burger, get rid of those tomatoes, and it was really good. And then we got the garlic parm tater tots, garlic truffle tater tots, and no, it was really good. So we left there. I had a room. I'm like, screw it, we'll book it, So we went down there with just the winnings, and pretty much played all night. I mean, I hit 400 throwing out a full house. I had three aces, 3 kings. I hit 400. I got the kicker, and then 2 other hands. I got 4 aces, so that was like $560 right there. And it just took off from that. But my fiance did not do too well on slots. But I did hear
it's like a boat. You're
Yes.
shoveling the water out, and the water's leaking back in.
Yes, I heard from a lot of players actually that slots were not kind this weekend. So I stuck mainly to video poker. So I played up and down all night. I mean, I played on the same buy-in until about 10:30. Then went to the cashier, grabbed a couple extra bucks out, and then around 2:30 in the morning after the bars close, I go to Face Up Pai Gow. My favorite game of all time,
and the best time to play it at 2:30 in the morning.
Yes, and Vito, when I tell you, in the 40 hands I had 1 full house. And I'd say the majority of the hands were losers. I mean, getting king high, jack high, I can't beat the dealer with ace king with quads, or not quads, trips, and it's just like, oh my god, give me face down, let me pay the commission. I just have no luck when it comes to Face Up Pai Gow.
Now, very important question: did you play the face up because there was no face down open?
I was heading back to the room.
I got nervous there. I was like, honestly, I might protest. I'm going to have to make a shirt for the store that says Face Up Pai Gow with a big X on it.
Yes, you should.
Yeah, actually, that's a good. I should write that down. That's a good idea. I would wear that.
No, because I was already in DraftKings and we had a room in Cedar, so I was just walking over to Cedar, sat down at a table, lost a good chunk of money, and then made most of it back on Dollar Storm, which was surprising. So all in all, great trip. We did eat at the Red Lantern, which was really good.
Ooh.
We only went for sushi and the rock shrimp.
And the rock shrimp appetizer is nice there.
It's so good. And called it a night.
On the night of our meetup, it's all you can eat sushi night, I believe. So
is it really?
Oh yeah. I mean, that's the last thing I need to do is do that on a meetup night. But if I was just alone with the wife, or one time me and Big Lou went, they almost closed the whole place down when we walked in the door.
Yeah, jeez. Yeah, I had a couple other decent hits. I had a couple 400s. I did have the 800 at DraftKings. I had 4 deuces with a 4, I think it was, with a 4 times multiplier. So, it was a great trip. Didn't lose too much. Walked away down a couple bucks. And
at some point, did you start using your card? Did you start putting the card
yeah.
out?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, once I got back on property, because it was so Foxwoods is doing an interesting thing now, and it seems like it might continue because I just got another offer for it. Invited guests only, usually slot players. You have a choice on certain days. So this past Saturday, you could either take your slot play or have 4 times tier credits on the machine, and you just go to the kiosk, you swipe, you go to your choice benefits, and you can select right there if you want the slot play or if you want the 4X.
Ooh.
And of course, being a video poker player, I took the 4X, and
Well, that could be lucrative in the sense you're not getting rewards points that you turn into dollars. But if you're trying to make another tier, get lounge access.
I'm sorry, I said rewards points. It's tier points. Sorry.
You said it right. I might have just said it wrong. No, you said it correct.
Sorry.
But from the Foxwoods point, they're not giving away money. If you take the slot play, they're giving you a little money. But the tier credits, that's a longitudinal thing where they're saying, all right, so this guy, what's he going to do? He's going to make get lounge access. He's going to get 10% off, something, ice cream or something. For them, that's a big draw for someone like me who, what? It's not a 4 times day, but for me, it's kind of like a 4 times day. Maybe I do want to go up.
Exactly. And I think that's a good way to do it instead of just, having a regular day. You get the opportunity to choose.
I like that. And next time we do a meetup, I think I got to make it on the 4 times day. I do it the day before this time.
I was going to say May 3rd is the next one where you get to choose whether you want your free play or you want the 4 times tier. And I think that's a great choice. I mean, they used to give you back in the day, I think it was before COVID, maybe just slightly after COVID, they stopped doing it where they would give you slot play on the 4 times tier day.
As like a double draw to get you up there.
Yes, they stopped doing that. So I really like that option. Just like
that's very cool.
And just like when we're going on the 17th, they have what is it called? Bets and food or something, food and bets or something, where you get a certain amount for a food credit, and then you also get slot play on top of it.
Oh yeah, no, I'm persona non grata on the rewards these days. I get like nothing. And it's funny because I go and I'll play, 10 times more than my wife plays. And for the 17th when we're there, my wife has more slot play. She has food credit. She has all this stuff. I'm getting all these rooms, dragging people there. I'm telling you, sometimes I don't even have. I have nothing. Like when I used to get all sorts of rewards, but I'm not.
Well, we're going to change that.
Yeah, we got to change that.
We're going to change that.
I've been on a dry spell up there.
On the 17th, we're going to change that.
But you know what? Maybe they know this guy likes the rooms because they do give me. I do have more free rooms than I ever had. Normally Sunday to Thursday was always good, but I've been coming up Fridays a little bit now. I've been getting a little bit more loosey goosey, or they've been getting loosey goosey with the rooms with me. So maybe that's part of it too. Is they're like, you know what? This guy he likes if he doesn't have a free room, he's not coming. So let's get the guy the room and just cut back on all his other stuff. I wonder if it works like that. I wonder if I made that up or there is an algorithm.
Nope. It's all in your comp bucket. So, yep, that would make perfect sense.
Oh, if they did that, whoever did that was very smart because I've had good pre-slot play days, and I'm always like, forget it. What's the point? But if there's the free room, I don't even need the slot play. The free room, I feel like, is
exactly
worth more than gold to me because then I can lose and at least I have a pillow to cry in at the end of the night.
Yeah, and like I said, most of the time I don't go when they offer the slot play. So it's usually on a tier multiplier day or a tier and rewards credit multiplier day. So that's mainly and that's what they do on most weekends. So it's like that's when I go either Friday, Saturday, or just Saturday or just Friday. So I mean, I'll pick up a gift card or usually the points on Friday, and then they'll have some type of multiplier usually on Saturday or some type of hot seat promotion or something like that. So normally I don't take the slot play anyway because it's usually mainly during the week. They do have a couple coming up that are on the weekends, but not sure I'll be attending those days. I say that now, but I wasn't going this past weekend, and it just happened.
My poor daughter just needed a prom dress, so her graduation dress. I'm just going to go to the bar over here quick.
Yes, exactly. You know it. I have to go straight to truth. That's where I start. It's just a habit. It's just a habit. I go straight to truth. Doesn't matter where I'm staying. I always start at truth. It's just a habit now.
I feel like not putting the card in, though, proves that you didn't plan on staying there very long. You know what I mean? Not putting that card in, your true intentions were, I'll just run through a little bit, have a little fun, say hello to some people. And sometimes it happens like that. You go up big early, and then you're saying, you know what? Do they have those comp rooms still available for tonight? I might want to stay here.
Exactly. So that was an unexpected trip, and most of them are.
All right. Well, that was
I will be there this weekend, celebrating a friend's birthday. So if you are at Foxwoods this weekend, I will be there at least the 12th. I haven't decided if I'm going to extend it either Friday or into Sunday because Sunday is the 3 times 3 times. But I will definitely be there on Saturday the 12th.
Getting warmed up. Yeah, maybe get some winnings for
well, that's the hope, but let's just hope it doesn't go the other way.
I'd be like, we didn't see Justin play at all during the meetup, actually.
Exactly. Too big. Well, I kind of have to if I'm going to keep this sweet.
Yeah, that's true. You got to earn it. You got to earn it.
Yes, I have to.
So that was a very fun trip report. I'm very excited for our meetup coming up. And again, I told everyone before, I should have said right at the top about the Make Luck Happen Dashery, but I'm going to post a picture of the t-shirt in the Facebook group probably and on X and maybe even on Facebook and my regular Facebook, because if you see me in the shirt, that's how you'll know it's me, is the Make Luck Happen shirt. And I will have a Cousin Vito's Casino hat on. and I might be wearing it backwards, so we'll see. So that's how you could try and find me, and I might have a Make Look Happen bracelet on, and who knows? With Justin, I might have another 10. We might have another 10 bracelets this big. What color are your bracelets? Mine are black bracelets with yellow writing on them.
Mine are red with white lettering.
Ooh, so we got a little, I like that little black and red action.
Black and red, yeah.
All right, perfect.
And Vito, I think we missed the biggest thing.
Oh no, what was it? Where are my show notes?
It's going to be our first time meeting.
Oh my
in
God!
person.
Yes, yeah. Oh yeah, that's true. I really can't believe that. Actually,
I know. We've been talking for years,
and you post pictures on the Facebook group and stuff. So it's like I know. You know what I mean? I could pick you out of a lineup. It's actually like it's one of those like the Mandela effect. There, I'm like I feel like I've known you and we've actually played together. I didn't think about that.
And now I'm having more people come up to me and they're like, "Oh my God, you're Justin." I'm like, "Yes, I'm just another degenerate gambler like the rest of us."
No. We are casino enthusiasts. We're
Casino
recreational
enthusiasts.
gamblers who are casino enthuusers. That's how you get it.
Yes. So it's nice meeting everyone and getting my face out there. So I'm very easy to spot in the casino. You go to any bar and I'll be there.
I am so excited. Oh, man. 10 days away. So
10 days.
The countdown begins. And Justin, I don't know if it was, us just rekindling your little visit to Fox was getting me fired up to play. I don't know if it was Crazy Tony from 360 Vegas getting me, ready to have a cocktail and talk to everybody and be a true host of a casino meetup. I don't know if it's Big Lou looking for a place to eat. My mouth's watering thinking about that prime rib or that lobster roll. But I got a funny feeling that between me, you, Big Lou, Crazy Al, DraftKings, Foxwoods, that together we're going to make luck happen.